Okay, hi, COVID hair guy here. I'm going through a video related to doing Google quizzes. Google quiz forms is what I call them. Once again, you can find this document at tinyurl.com/Mr. T Goog Class 1 right there. You can read that. And we've already kind of done the basics of creating a Google Classroom and creating assignments and adding documents. And in thinking about this, the very first thing I thought is a Google form quiz is what I call a magically graded document. And there will eventually be this video that you're watching attached in there. And think of it as if you were assigned a document and that it had some right answers. You wrote a bunch of questions out, you handed the document to the students and said, answer them. And then as soon as they were done, it magically graded them all and potentially even told them, this is what you got right and this is what you got wrong. Well, this is what what I call a Google form quiz is. And every time I give it, I will often call it a quiz because my students understand what I mean by that and that there are right or wrong answers. Even though I don't grade it as a quiz, although I do find that calling it a quiz often results in a little extra effort by the students. Three types of questions we typically want to ask. Multiple choice, because they're easy to grade. There's one right answer, there's a couple of distractors, pretty straightforward. Short answer is a little more complicated, but usually there's a single word or two that's the right answer. And free response, it's nice to be able to collect them, but then you really have to grade them yourself. So I'm going to stay away from it other than making you know it is possible, but you're creating more work for yourself. But once again, this is a great way to collect that information because it'll put it all in a spreadsheet at the end, which is one of the things you should know is you get a summary of things and everything's in a spreadsheet. And depending on how you do it, those scores are in your Google Classroom as well, although I always use the spreadsheet. So first thing you need to do is create a Google form. If you've never done that, go to Google Drive or forms.google.com. Make sure you're logged in with your ID. There's a big plus over here that you can online on. And I don't know, I'm still reading my document. Let me show you what it looks like live because that's why I'm doing this. So if I go to my Google Drive, I go to new. What I want to do, new. And why is it being weird? New. There we go. Now, what's weird, I don't know why they don't do it. There's no Google Forms here. You've got to go to more and then Google Forms. And like I said, if you go to forms.google.com, I think there's a big plus. It'll automatically put it there. Obviously, you probably want to put this in a particular folder, but I'm being lazy right now. I'm going to call this another quiz because I did one called my first quiz on the examples. One other weird thing is to get the title to go up here, and I didn't explain this in the document. You actually have to click up here. And these can have different names, which is sometimes confusing. If you want to add a description, you can, but now we're ready to go. So I can start writing my first multiple choice question. So let's see, which mnemonic represents the colors of the visible spectrum? Anything you want. I'm getting a little fancy here. This came up the other day. So this has a right answer. It stayed multiple choice. Sometimes this will automatically switch over to short answer, but this is where you go over here to pick which kind of answer you want. And I want this to be multiple choice. So if it doesn't have these options, you might have to go over here. I didn't show this in the other thing here. You can attach pictures here if you want. That makes it a little harder for you sometimes. I don't mind doing it up here because I only have to do one. I don't like doing pictures for the answers. It doesn't format very well. But for a picture for the question is often great. So let's see. Well, my correct answer is Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And I'm going to make a couple of distractors that look more or less correct. Roy G. Ben. Let's do purple, orange, yellow, green, red, magenta. And let's just do something that they might PEMDAS, which my math teachers appreciate. And maybe I don't want this first one to be the answer. I can drag things around. Now, right now, this is not really a quiz. It's just a survey. I could give this to the students. It would record what they said, but it would not grade it for me, and it would not tell them if they got it right or wrong. So we need to turn this into a quiz. So we go up here, and we click on the little settings cog. And we've got general, and I click on quizzes over here, and I say make it a quiz. which now it's a quiz. I can turn on lock mode. This only works in the classroom. Read more about that. These are probably what I want them to be. I don't mind if my students see the answers. There's reasons why you might not want them to do that, like maybe a real test or quiz, where you don't want them seeing it and then maybe whispering to their friend after they're done what the answers are. Back on general, different tab, I usually only want them to do this once. Now, I might not care if they go back and change their answers. That's up to you. Depends on what setting. A lot of times for a practice quiz, I actually want them to go and change the answers. For the actual quiz, I normally don't. This was actually something I was grading and I wanted to know what they knew the first time around. Always want to collect email addresses unless you want to make it anonymous. Otherwise, you don't know who you're grading. So most of the stuff is going to be the way you want it, but this is the one that I usually turn on. Otherwise, and in fact, if you don't say limit to one response, they can't edit after submit. Uncheck that. Oh, I don't know how that would both work, but that's what I normally do. Okay, and then remember to hit save. Hit save. Okay, this is now a quiz now, and one of the reasons I know it's a quiz is now there's an option for an answer key down here, which I don't have the answer key, so I'm going to click on it. I'm going to first make sure I give it points. I often forget to do that, in which case it's great, it grades it, but then doesn't score it correctly. And then my correct answer was Roy G. Biv, so that's right. There are multiple choice ones, but I don't want to get into that. And then if I'm going to let the students see the answers, I can give them feedback or why something is right or why something is wrong. Oftentimes I'll just give the same, I'll explain everything and just copy and paste to both of those. We're not going to get into that, but like I said, if you're using it as a tool to help them get feedback, that's worthwhile. They're not going to see their answers. You're wasting your time giving them feedback. Okay, done. That's one question. Let's do another one. So this, sometimes people are like, oh, how do I add another question? It's up here. Add question. Going to add a new question. Let's make this one a short answer. So let's see. Let me think of something. Who won the NBA championship in 20? I got to think about this. 18. Okay. This is a short answer. So I could give an answer key. The problem is there's different ways people could write this in. So I might say the Warriors. Going to be sad if I'm doing this off the top of my head wrong. I might say Warriors. I might say Golden State. This was kind of a problem. Now, here's the problem with this. If they don't capitalize it the way that I want to, if they don't just say the team name or something like that, I might have to think of a lot of different answers. So this is a little bit problematic. And so maybe I even want to change this question. Let's make this easier. I'm going to go back. I'm going to say, when did Warriors last championship? Now that makes it easier. And that way I can say 2018. And I don't think there's any variations I need to worry about there. Maybe somebody will write 18. So I'll put that in there too in case they type it in. Okay. But anything other than those two answers is going to mark wrong. You could always go back and get partial credit, but you really don't want to get into that. Oh, I didn't explain this either. These are by default required. You can make them not required, but usually the students appreciate you making them required because if they accidentally skip one, it'll tell them. Okay, do I want to do one last one? Yeah, I did this one just for grins. What is 1 divided by 3 as a decimal? And there's a lot of ways a student could write an answer here. Okay, I'm looking for 0.33. Okay, but I might need to tell them that. Yeah, I don't want that. So what I can do is I can add a description. So I clicked on this 3 dots here, description, and I can say write as a decimal, right, rounded to 2 decimal places, or instance 0.46 7, 1, 2, 3 becomes 0.47. So now they have an example. They should type exactly what I want them to type in, but at the same time, it is possible somebody might do 0.33 and somebody else might do 0.33. And since I think those are both good answers, I want to have those both check right away. And then there was a mistake I made there. Didn't add there. Okay, I think that's all we need. This is ready to go. I like to actually preview it. I usually take it myself because sometimes I get the key wrong. It's embarrassing when I get the key wrong. So I usually will preview it, and I'll actually take it and say Roji Biv, and maybe I'll just get this wrong on purpose. Let's see, 0.3. I'm going to try something just to see. I wonder what happens if I add a space there. It may or may not check. Okay, fit, and I can view my score. And I can see, oh, I got that one right, got that one wrong, tells me what I got wrong. And see this one, I might need to say don't include any spaces. Normally kids don't do it at the end, but sometimes they do. And sometimes I'll actually just add one. They're just some tricks you learn eventually. But this works pretty well, especially once the kids get used to taking it this way. And so this is what they might see at the end. And if you gave them the ability to go back and change it, one of the options would be go back and change it. Okay, so now I'm ready to assign this. So I think I've got my classroom open here already. So over here, where's my classroom? Okay, here's my classroom. I'm going to create another assignment. I'm going to say another quiz. Take, please. And I'm going to use this to add it. Google Classroom, Google Drive. Luckily, I worked on it recently, and it should show up right here. Here it is. Otherwise, I'm going to have to search for it. I add it. Going to put it right there, and I'm going to make this ungraded now just because I like doing that. I'm going to assign it, and you will see back in the classroom. So here I'm going to go back to my fake student account, which I think I have open. Okay, this is my fake student account. Okay, there's that thing I just put out there. This is what they see. They click on that, and interesting. Oh, you know what? Okay, I've never tried this before. This is because my fake Google account is not a OUSD account. So that's why it won't let me do it. Otherwise, it would just let me take it. And then when I was done back here, after I finished taking it, it would actually say, this person turned it in. They don't have to do anything to turn it in. When they're done, it automatically turns it in. So that's the advantage of using that plus button as opposed to just pasting the link in the description, which I think for other things, I do like pasting the link in the description. Let me just double check my written instructions again to make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't think I did. And once again, you can watch this again or kind of scroll through. I've got screenshots of everything. I think I pretty much covered everything. Oh, no, I didn't. Let me show you how to look at the results when you're done. So back to my classroom. No, back to my quiz. Where is it? Did I close it? No, it's here. Okay, so this was me. I just took it. I'm going to close that. Now I'm back. Where is it? So this is the thing I just did. Notice right now. So I'm back in my quiz. It was where I was editing it. I could add another question if I wanted to. Generally, you don't want to change it after you've given it, but you could. It's got a response now. So if I click on a response, you will see I got a 2 out of 3. If I had other ones, it would show me how people did. It'd show me each question, what people missed specifically. And then the thing that's really nice is if you click on this little green flag up here, it will open up all that information in a spreadsheet. So, which is great when you've got 150 kids taking it. So create a spreadsheet. The first time you do it, it'll do this, click create, and it'll open up a spreadsheet. And then the trick I like to show people is if you've got more than a couple of questions, when you scroll over, you're going to lose like, well, who said that? There's no way to kind of see who did this. So this is a really nice trick if you've never done this. Go to the score column, which is the third column. Go to view, freeze, up to current column. And that freezes this, so as I scroll over, if there's other questions, I don't lose the fact that it was this person and this score, while I'm kind of analyzing how they did on other pieces. And, like I said, normally I have 150 kids all listed in here. All right, I think that's plenty. Thanks for watching. Let me stop recording.